Yo, Omar, real quick, did you need people up here that disagree with you? Because I actually agree with you on this point.
You can speak your piece. This is an open forum. Speak
I
your
ain't gonna
piece.
cap to
Oh,
y'all. You know what's funny? Motherfuckers, you remember when Queen Elizabeth died, right?
yeah.
Everybody was making fun of her. But
That's
but now
exactly what
because
I
it's
was saying.
Kobe, now it's a fucking problem.
Yeah, well,
Or
like I want to know what's the difference between like
yeah.
for the people who are super butthurt, what's the difference between you guys clowning on the Queen's death when obviously there are some people in England who like her and like adore her and stuff. What's the difference between that and the Kobe situation? I don't understand.
And again, if anybody, because I think that that's the trouble, and I see a boy speaks down there. I don't want to call people out based off of what they said. I'm really having a hard time finding. And again, take it away from Kobe if you want to. Take it away from him completely. The general sentiment still stands. Why is it that somebody cannot bring up somebody's evils, um, whether or not they be dead or alive?
Like people just want their cake and eat it too. Like they want it their way or no way, and that's just not how it works. You have to take it on both ends.
I think it's just ignorance, honestly. People don't like it when I guess let's say if you're a fan of somebody and motherfuckers are bad mouthing somebody that you like. I feel like the more famous you are and like the more talented you are, the I guess the more what do I say, dick suckers that you get. I don't like using that word, but I can't find another word. You just get a lot of fans and people that are just like they just try to defend you at every turn. It's just really, really toxic. You can't have any productive conversations or criticize anyone or really like, hold people accountable because, you have people sitting there saying, well, it was a long time ago. Well, this person did this, and well, he's a famous basketball player. Or oh, Chris Brown is super talented. Like, who the fuck
Bro,
cares?
this kind of
Nigga, they hurt
it
people.
kind
It's
of
that
reminds me of
superhero
those.
complex. A lot of people look up to their favorite artists, favorite athletes as superheroes, as if they can't do no wrong. But in the light, everybody is a terrible person when you dig down deep. So you're gonna find some dirt either way, and people don't want to believe that. They want their idols to be some special, superhuman, Superman type person, which is not true. And when you tell them it's not true, and you bring up something like Chris Brown being a woman beater, or Rihanna, not Rihanna, or Kobe being a rapist, it just messes up how they, I guess, the idol that they look up to, basically, the status that they look up to, kind of messes it up.
I mean, I'm fans with comedians who look up to Bill Cosby, but we all know what happened. Hey, sometimes you just gotta, hey, maybe you need to look at your idol a little differently. Like your memories of them from your past don't change. Like you could say like, oh, they influenced me, but like, you don't have to like them like that. Like you don't have to look at them the same after like stuff like that happens.
I feel like people don't understand that you could just separate the two. Bill Cosby did some terrible stuff, but you can still look at it a different way and still acknowledge that he's a terrible human being. And still, I say, look up to Bill Cosby in a comedy sense. Because he's still comedy.
You're cutting out. You're letting
Yo,
out.
like Kanye like influenced me a lot when I was younger, but I'm not gonna defend him for the stuff he's doing right now. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if he's trolling or he's
dude,
just a
that's the
straight up
thing.
coon. I don't know
I
what's going
don't
on with him.
know. That's the thing.
Archie
You can't
agreed.
troll on this.
Archie
He's
agreed.
obviously trolling. Y'all niggas. Oh my
Exactly.
god.
You can't troll.
I don't know. I can't tell no more, bro. That nigga's
I I
either an elite troll or
I
he's
can't
serious.
tell anymore. I'm not gonna lie.
He's
So
been
where do you?
trolling his
I
whole
saw.
career.
So I saw you liked my brother's tweet, and I want. I'm having a serious conversation. Take the Kobe part out of it. Answer that question first. Why do people get so offended when people bring up the evils that somebody committed, whether they are dead or alive? Why do you think that that's the case?
Well, was he actually like
I just said
convicted?
take the Kobe out of it for 2 seconds. Just answer the general question.
Why
We
do
can get
people
into it.
they only get offended at the people that they actually like? If they don't like the person, they're not gonna really care. So those people that you mentioned are mostly liked for the most part. That's why people commented the way they did. If it's a person that no one likes, they're not gonna really care. So that answers your question.
I mean, a lot of people liked Elvis Presley too, but like, I mean,
And that's the thing too. I don't. it's funny because we kind of have general consensuses about specific people. So, like Archie just said, like, you know, people like Elvis Presley too, but we've swayed so much in the direction of like hating on Elvis that it's okay to hate on Elvis, even though he's deceased. But when somebody does it for somebody that people like Kobe, it's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Or Chris Brown, oh my God, this is so crazy. Or Bill Cosby, oh my God, you can't, this is crazy. I don't think that I
I
understand
think the
why.
degree of like the evil thing that you're talking about, I think the degree of what they did that was actually evil matters too.
Like
But yeah,
I ain't gonna cap to you. I'll tell you what. When Karl Malone dies, dead or alive, I'm still gonna criticize that nigga. So
I think that in comparison of like what Elvis did versus what I just named for a lot of those people. Now, mind you, I'm specifically talking about people criticizing Elvis for, you know, stealing black people's music and stuff like that. That versus the things that we're talking about for other people, I ain't gonna lie, it doesn't necessarily, you know, compare to me. I don't think that stealing music was bad, but when we're talking about assaulting women, that shit's awful. So I don't know.
I think it's personal connection. A lot of us don't have any personal connection with Elvis Presley more than we do with somebody like a Kobe Bryant. So it'll hit harder when you find out somebody like Kobe was doing something terrible other than Elvis Presley.
wait, quick question though. Like on a side note, it still has to do with it. Was it confirmed that Kobe raped that woman or no?
yeah, that's what I was
He
asking.
He
Like,
raped.
he
He raped.
settled. I mean,
Hmm, that's
that's
not a
So
good
that's
look.
not.
so
Yeah,
so essentially
Wasn't there forensics evidence?
no,
so essentially what happened is, and I read back on it today, and that's why when people were linking me stuff, I was like, no, I mean that you just linked me what I already was told about Kobe. He had what began as what he would say consensual sex with this woman, and then it turned into non-consensual sex. However, he went off of, you know, what he perceived to be like body language and things like that. Um, and as the sex got more forcible and rougher, she says that she told him to stop, and he just didn't stop. Now, even Kobe himself in that moment admitted saying, "Hey, you know, what started off as what seemed to be a consensual night, what I thought was a consensual night, turned into what I can now see as a non-consensual, you know, act." So at that point, like that's why I'm confused when people are like, "Oh my gosh, Kobe didn't." He himself said, "Yeah, I can see this," but you're so I mean, you're so in love with the man that you're ignoring his words about the situation. That's the thing that I don't necessarily
I
understand.
mean, look,
And another
oh
thing, a woman could take away consent at any time.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if
that's
he's
where
admitted
it's
that
like it's a
he
gray
and
yeah,
it's
area
gonna
because
he's
like if
saying
you take
stop.
consent away like that's a real gray area. Like that situation in particular is such a tricky situation. Like it's
I don't think it's tricky because again, we talked about it with the Joe Budden thing. The moment that you rob me of the opportunity of my ability to give consent, then I don't know. When you
but that's different because the Kobe one was consensual at first. The
Well,
Joe
I'll tell.
one
Well, no. The Joe Budden
wasn't.
one was it was consensual, and Joe decided, okay, I'm gonna take the condom. I'm gonna lie about putting a condom on. And in the Kobe situation, yeah, I consent to intercourse. I didn't consent to bending over the chair, you strangling me. Apparently there were some acts of anal. Like I didn't consent. When did I?
Yeah, I mean,
So
I could see that, but
just because and that's why I say, like I said it before when we talk about having sex, having the conversations about what you like before getting into that act is so very important to avoid these things. I might like the choke, the slap, all this stuff. She might not like that, but if I go into it thinking that, hey, I'm about to have sex, I'm about to get mine off, now I'm assaulting you during sex, and now, yeah, I'm sorry. This is sexual assault. This is rape. Maybe I need to tone down the word to make it more palatable. I don't think so, but ultimately, yeah, bro, you robbed her of consent.
if it's consensual at first and then something happens after, I don't know if I would consider that like rape. Rape is like literally taking away, like off the gate, like out the gate, just taking away that consent. But if it's consensual at first,
Why
I
are
don't know.
you? What makes you say that, Archie? You are moving
Because
by
that's the definition.
No, that's not. See, and that's the thing too. We also talked about being like progressive in defining words. Like at any moment, she can take away consent. Not 9-1, but you can take away consent at any single moment. So I don't think that it's like I take away consent off the gate. Again, if you don't agree, and we said the thing the last time we had the space. If you don't agree to getting your asshole licked when you're having sex, and she goes ahead and does that, jams something up there, does all these things, yeah, that's sexual assault. That's rape.
Yeah, that is. But if there's consent at first and then it changes, that I don't think that's on the same level. That's what I'm saying.
Then there can be levels to rape. If that makes it more palatable for you, that's fine. But even then, you might have agreed to oral sex. As soon as she starts jamming things, or he or whoever starts jamming things inside of you, doesn't it change? Does it not change?
Yes, it does change. It does change. Yes, I agree. Like I agree with that. It's just I don't know. It just seems like it's two. Well, it's not two different things. They're both the same thing, but it's how they get there are two different ways. Is what I'm saying.
I can't lie, man.
Shit.
I might have to.
Yeah, I think that's the difference of what actually makes you a rapist and having those thoughts.
I ain't gonna lie. We ain't had no game. Plus, also when we got there, the conversation was really, and somebody's gonna clip it. It don't matter to me, but the conversation was really about how that never worked. That literally never worked for us. But my comments still stood. Like, yeah, bro. Yeah, we was hiking on some like, sexual predator stuff in that very moment.
How old were you guys?
Probably like 16. Mind you,
thinking like that is crazy.
And mind you, this is like our limited knowledge about even what alcohol did. I mean, I think y'all know I don't drink. This is my limited knowledge of knowing what alcohol really even does. And it was to my shock that people, drunk or whatever. So the conversation was, yeah, alcohol makes girls horny. Oh, okay. Well, shit. That's what I think I want. I don't know.
Dang.
I was a kid back then, for 6, 5, 7, 6.
Well, it's official. Kanye West got banned on Twitter again.
Nah, he got banned like earlier today.
Yeah, already. Yeah.
Dang.
And on Instagram too. That was yesterday.
I don't want to change this. Anybody out there, please, I would love for somebody to. I know I wasn't gonna get the people, that's going crazy hard in the comments about it. Mustard was gonna be on tip. All these things, I knew it.
I really wanted to know.
Well, wait. Mustard disagreed with what you're saying, Omar?
Because he's a Kobe stan, bro.
I mean,
that is so hypocritical. Because you know what's funny? In one of his videos, what his top 10 power forwards video, he says, "Oh, I don't want to talk about Karl Malone too much because he's a pedophile." So he has no problem saying that nigga's a pedophile, but he won't acknowledge that Kobe's a rapist. That's insane.
That's what I'm saying. If you like the person, you're gonna overlook the things they do.
Yeah.
All the time.
I never understood how you can just like only take one side and not the other. Like, come on, bro.
I just wanted to say, for one, let's be mindful of what we want to categorize as rape. As I mentioned before with Omar, I understand that as a society, it's morally wrong, but you have to be careful what you label rape, because after a while, rape holds no power. I mean, right now it has no power, or it's limited where people can report their rapists and nothing happened to them, especially when it comes to the criminal justice system and all that other stuff. But you got to be careful what you classify as certain things, because it can lose its motherfucking strength.
I mean, there could be levels, but I feel like it is what it is, though.
It's a sexual offense, because I mentioned to Omar, in New York State, right? If I was to go to a prosecutor and tell them I want to press charges against this guy because he did what Joe Budden did to me, I went into the sexual encounter thinking yeah, we're going to have sex, but he's supposed to be wearing a condom. He didn't have a condom, so I feel that is rape. They will straight up tell me it's not rape based on the definition. there's all types of stuff that falls under
Yeah.
sexual offenses, but trying to label something as rape that's not rape is dangerous. That's like, I don't know if niggas do it now because it hasn't happened to me, but I remember a couple of times in middle school, like niggas will just randomly smack my butt and then I'll hit them, right? To me, it's like, I didn't give you consent to slap my butt. The freak you slapped my butt for? But I couldn't be like, oh, this dude raped me because he took away my consent and slapped my butt. They would be like, yeah, he just sexually assaulted you.
Yeah, rape is penetration. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Is it
extreme
like by
version of
definition?
Yeah,
Like,
sexual assault.
can we have a
By de-
definition just for clarity?
yeah, is that by definition? Because
yeah,
I
it's by
mean,
definition. Rape is
okay.
usually penetration. Well, it is penetration, not usually. My bad.
Yeah, sexual assault is different than rape, guys. Like, come on now.
I mean, still, but you can still dislike a celebrity who's beloved for doing like sexual assault, whatever it is. Like that's still like that's still a blemish on them. If someone doesn't like them for that, then like why be so like hostile towards them for thinking that? Because like that's a legitimate thing to dislike someone for.
I see that too. It's all valid points. I mean,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean,
I
again,
just-
I brought up in the Discord the Queen Elizabeth thing. Like, you could like her, but you could also dislike her. And what's the difference between that and like Kobe? It's just because you like Kobe more. Like, I don't know.
yeah, relatability. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
if
don't know
anyone-
if that tweet, like Omar, niggas were gonna respond how they did when you word shit, especially near the end with the examples you gave. If you would have just like said that same tweet without the examples, I don't think there would be that big of a deal.
I feel like
Come
a
on.
normal person would be able to like understand what Omar was saying, though. I mean, like maybe
I mean, I
he worded
did,
it the wrong
yeah.
way, but like people, I don't know. I feel like people should just be able to like look at it and be like, I understand what he's saying, even if it's like, you know, pretty harsh or whatever. I don't know.
That's
That's
why
just me.
context is so important, because if there's no context behind what you say, you word it a certain way, it leaves it up for, you know, people to just like, oh, you said this, like, oh, like yeah, you know, it's.
I mean,
You know how
again, bro.
people are.
Hey, man. Recently, bro, I cannot defend Kanye, even though like he's been a huge influence on me. Like, hey, I have to admit when I have to like fold, bro. I'm like, you know what, bro? I can't defend you, bro. I can't do it.
Do you feel like with sports as well, it's another one of those things where you have to separate the art from the artist?
It's hard
But-
for me to really separate like athletes from what they've done. Like,
See, you
depending on.
can do that, but that doesn't mean you still can't acknowledge the shit that they did. Like, for example, like I still think Bill Cosby's funny as shit, but I know he's a pathetic and despicable person.
I
You know, so I
agree.
can separate those two things, but I can still acknowledge both sides of them. So, kind of a
Because
bit of both.
my first exposure to Kobe was like the trial and everything. That was my first exposure to basketball as a
Dang,
whole.
that's crazy, bro. That's
Yeah, so I
crazy.
never could get into Kobe as much as other fans.
Damn.
So, quick question: how y'all feel about OJ?
Well, I never grew up with OJ, so I can't really comment on him. All I can say is that I do think he killed his wife, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, he did. He definitely did.
I mean, is that kind of like similar to how people feel about, you know, did Michael Jackson actually touch those kids and stuff like
Yeah.
that? Like,
Michael Jackson ain't touching the kids.
Me personally, I believe OJ did it, aside from the fact that he's like been doing everything but, you know, just directly admitting it. But I don't have like no negative like feelings towards him because he managed to work the system in the way that it's intended, right? So like
Yeah.
when it comes to our constitutional rights, all of us have like access to that. All of us, you know, are attached to those rights, whether you're a criminal or not. You know what I'm saying? And so there's these procedures that the government has to go through to prove that you did whatever they accuse you beyond a reasonable doubt. So if you can cast doubt in your jury, even though you 100% did it, I mean, you worked the system for how it was intended.
You know, OJ could afford to like work the system though.
What was that?
Oh, I was just about to say, I think one of the big differences between OJ and a lot of other people is that he could afford to work the system.
Yeah, it's definitely a money thing. Where if you can afford like the best lawyers, the best attorneys, everything, like yeah, of course you're gonna have a better chance than
And I
like
mean, credit to him, the defense bungled the prosecution, they bungled the fucking thing.
Yeah, because all you have to do is prove doubt, and the doubt was the fact that they were like, this glove couldn't have fit. It's too small, type of thing. So that's all it is. But I do agree that some money is behind it, because that's why societally, rape in rape culture, it's not harshly penalized. It's the same thing with domestic violence. You know, when you look at the power dynamics, who the disenfranchised group is, who's the dominant group, who's committing what, ultimately the law goes in the favor of the more wealthy individual, and that's whether you're a man, woman, black, white.
dang, then Bill Cosby really needed those lawyers, man. True.
Maybe I'm like ignorant on it, so I just wanted to ask. But I thought that the victim, I know, like obviously, of course, it could be just through death threats they're receiving or whatever criticism. But didn't they retract their statements?
Wait,
Who,
who?
Kobe's victim?
Yeah, Kobe's victim.
I think I did hear something about
So
that.
Well, I know it got settled out of court, like
From-
in 2005.
Yeah, it got settled, but I don't
From
know.
the
Well, just because you settled, it doesn't mean
Same
you're
same
guilty.
thing with Karl Malone raping that 13-year-old. It got settled out of
Yeah,
court.
exactly.
I mean, they
Yeah,
settled that
exactly.
out of court. I mean,
I don't know about the Karl Malone situation. I'm just talking about the Kobe conversation right
No,
now.
I'm using what I'm saying to like to prove the fact that even if something gets settled out of court, doesn't mean that they're
it doesn't
against
mean it
blame.
didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And now,
So I got a question. Can somebody reset? I saw the Kobe convo again. So this is a convo about him being or sexually assaulting that woman.
Well, the real
Raping that
conversation,
woman,
well,
not sexually assault.
the real conversation was really like, what Omar was trying to say is, why is it hard for people to like, accept that, oh, these people actually did like these bad things, and like, why do they get so defensive when someone brings it up, stuff like that.
Most of the time it's context.
didn't the victim retract the statement though? That's like what I'm asking.
She did retract her statement. They did have consensual sex. There's plenty of articles you can go read. There are Reddit threads that people around her have put up regarding her and her mental state. And I'm not a victim blamer. I'm that's not my MO. But there's a lot of blanket statements in regarding that situation that the amount of information that we get regarding things at this time versus what the information that was given in 2004 when this happened is leaps and bounds completely different. So I think a lot of people won't take the time, but should take the time and go and do some research on that situation. And I was a person who was a anti Kobe person as a Laker fan. So it was, one of the worst things that's ever happened to my mother was her being raped. It was something that was very close to me. So when I heard that initially, and then I found out a lot of the things that were put out into the media were overblown and were misinformed, led me to the path where I'm at right now.
What are you talking about?
The Kobe situation and
Okay.
how it's a lie. Like a lot of it, it's not a lie, but a lot of it was overblown for a payout. They had consensual sex.
Well, I remember like because the situation that came up was like the case was dropped because she refused to testify. Now I don't know if you
Yeah,
know, like,
she didn't show up. She didn't show up.
yeah, she didn't testify, so the case was dropped, and then she later filed a civil suit against him. But I don't know if y'all know how like these rape cases go, but like a lot of the time, and not even just rape cases, like when you have to stand as a witness, like you gotta motherfucking talk all that stuff over, and at the same time, the defense has the right to like question you. So it was probably mentioned to her like, hey, if you go forward with this lawsuit, like these people can bring out some stuff in your history that you probably tried to bury forever ago and don't want coming out, even if it had nothing to do with the situation. I mean, y'all remember how the Johnny Depp and motherfucking that girl case went? Like they was pulling all these people business out, even the stuff that had nothing to do with they little domestic violence situation. And so like, and that's something that happens on average where a lot of women who, or not even women, because men who are raped too, whether it's by a man or a woman, a lot of victims do not testify because of a lot of factors. They don't want to relive that trauma. They don't want their personal business exposed. And even if that includes like their family and stuff like that, like it's a lot to it. And so sometimes your defense or your attorney would be like, it might be more beneficial for you if you did it in like the civil, matter, because then you don't have to worry about all of this other stuff coming out.
I mean, but wouldn't that be just we're assuming that?
What do you
We're
mean?
just assuming we be assuming that that's like what she did, right? Like at least that's what you're saying, or am I like misunderstanding
Well,
what you're saying?
you said, I'm not sure if it was you, but somebody said that they felt that it was for a payout, and I don't think it's a payout. Like the
She got
the
$11
the
million,
only paths
man.
the only paths you can take is criminal or civil. So if she decided not to go the criminal route because she ultimately could have like, put her own business out, it would make more sense for civil. Like I was motherfucking abused by our local police department. I cannot file criminal charges against them. So what did I do? Contacted a lawyer and started a civil suit. Because the city will easily pay out because they know that the police, do all types of stuff. So they'll pay out, but they won't admit guilt, and because they don't want no criminal situations.
Where
So
are you
for
from? I'm just
clarity,
curious.
for
You
for
said, where am I from?
Yeah, what city is this where you filed the
I'm in
lawsuit?
Rochester, New York.
Oh, upstate?
It's Western New York. People consider it upstate because it's upstate compared to New York City, but just about everything is upstate to New York City.
Okay, okay.
so for clarity, that was a criminal suit. That was a criminal case that was brought against Kobe, and the civil suit. There was never a civil suit. She settled out of court. The settlement was basically she decided not to testify in lieu of the settlement. So it wasn't a civil. It wasn't a civil suit.
If maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it during the time like Kobe was denying that the situation had occurred, that it was consensual. Later on, they brought her in. She had, semen from another man onto her panties, I believe, or however you want to describe it. Then later on, they said she was taking like some medication just previously that may have been like for what's the term? Uh, I don't want to say it like incorrectly. Schizophrenia. Yeah.
Yeah.
And afterwards, she repealed her statement saying that that hadn't occurred. I mean,
Yeah, there were
it could
a
just be
lot
a
of
lot of just.
inconsistencies in her statement. From the statement that she gave at the hotel versus the statement that she gave at the precinct the next day. Well, that she was telling people at the hotel versus what she told them when she went to go file the next day. Yes, there was semen from two different specimens. There were two different semen specimens. She was on schizophrenia medicine that she stopped taking. There were a lot of different factors that went into this situation. But Kobe just got branded as a rapist, and all of these other things just fell under the rug. So
For the gentleman that said a settlement is not it doesn't have anything to do with civil matters, I encourage you to Google at the very least settlements, because settlements are attached to is tort law, which falls
I
under
was just
civil
talking
cases.
about that situation. I wasn't talking about in general.
Okay, I'm back. The last thing that I heard, and I hear
Yeah,
that
but
y'all
I'm
talking.
saying is that you don't get a settlement without a civil case. Like, these are procedures. They're not. Kobe's not just gonna. Oh yeah, I'll give you whatever $1 million or however much you ask for. Yet you don't have no legality, like no legal hold over me. She would either have to be pressing charges against him criminally or civilly. Like those literally
She
are
was
the only two
she was
options.
pressing charges against him criminally, and they settled out of court for the criminal case not to go forward.
That's not true.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean I just read it today. They did the criminal. They did the criminal. The criminal got dismissed. They doubled back into the civil, and the civil got settled out of court. I read it for this
I would
conversation.
defer.
You said what?
I would defer.
I was about to say I just read it today for this conversation specifically.
Thank you for that clarity. Yeah, I'm not really arguing the case because I don't know his case. I just know how cases are handled generally. Like settlements aren't handed out unless a civil case has been initiated.
Also, what I heard earlier, and this is the last thing that I heard, and it's far back into the conversation, but I heard Tierra say, "Omar, you got to be careful as to what you call rape." To an extent, I do agree. Now, even to your legality comment, though, when we talked about the Joe Budden thing, and that's what dude was saying, who was from the UK. You said in New York, yeah, you're absolutely correct. It wouldn't be considered rape. But again, in the UK, it would be considered rape. So at that point, I can't look at things from a legal standpoint. I don't necessarily, because we do know that the law is flawed. Like we know how the criminal justice system goes about things is flawed. I also, so at that point, I'm going for more of like a moral stance. It's probably not the best way to phrase it, but I'm coming from like a moral stance about what is and what isn't in these conversations, and also moral stance of what is and what isn't in these conversations. Oh yeah, and also I think that we need to be more progressive because a lot of people in that conversation and the things that in the tweets that I made about the Kobe situation and that tweet that I just sent out today and any other tweets that I talked about with rape and as like a general consensus for a bunch of men and women. I'm not even gonna say and women. Rape is like this thing that's on Law and Order SVU where somebody pins somebody down or holds somebody to gunpoint. I think somebody even said that when we had the conversation about Joe Budden and stealthing. They were like, "Nah, man, ain't nobody hold a gun to nobody." Well, that's not the only way that you can rape somebody. So I understand where you're coming from to an extent, but I think that there's a lot of people who need to be more progressive about some of these talking points that we have, because at that point, I mean, we'll just stay dumbed down, and we'll be stuck in this wheel
But
of
it's not a
things
matter of
being
being
assaulted.
progressive.
Progressive in what way? That
He's talking to you, Omar. You said be progressive.
Wait, no, I didn't. It cut out for me. Say it again.
I was saying, what in what way are you saying be progressive? Because you're saying the there's more than those ways to rape a person. Well, yeah, if you take off a condom in the middle of sex and a person agreed to have sex with a condom with you, yes, that's rape. But like you have to give more examples of what you're talking about of being progressive because you're moving the needle. If that makes you're moving the goalpost. If that and not in a negative sense, but you're saying that there are other ways. Please
No.
say
I
what these
understand,
other ways are.
and I understand what you're saying.
There
But
is
moving,
no other way. Like rape, literally, if you look at the United States has a consensus. I get what you're saying about the UK. However, we are not governed by the UK. We don't answer to no king, no queen, no none of that. We mother freaking are governed by the United States. Whatever state you live in, that's your first governance, and
but
then secondly, federally.
even to your point there, it's not very linear in the United States. So I
But
don't even.
that's what I'm saying. Like it wouldn't. in majority states and districts within the United States, what Joe Budden did would not be considered rape. And I get
But
what you.
again, that's why I'm saying I can't go by the legal standpoint of it, because I'm not gonna sit here and act like the legal system in the United States is not even perfect, is good. So I'm not gonna go by that, especially when it's not linear. Like,
But a
again,
So
country
you
that
just
goes
totally
by
go.
but a country that goes by what is on piece of paper, it's letter to law, like how can you maneuver around it? I agree that our system is flawed. However, like you can't like navigate around it when this is all we have. Now, unless you
yes,
motherfucking
you can.
how the only way you can is by getting laws changed. But if that
Nah, where the bro
the
go?
only thing you can do is motherfucking tell your your county legislators and all this like, hey, maybe we should update the
Tierra,
motherfucking the rape law.
I've said this to you in multiple conversations, and damn, bro, who made a comment about something that I said, he just left. Oh nah, come back up. Spin that 5-4, come back up. Again, I can never go by that. The law does not define. The law that's written 200 years ago does not define. 300 years ago does not define. Like where we are morally and socially today.
But
Okay,
our laws is
real
based
quick,
on a
just
consensus. Like in New
A
York, just
consensus
what
of
two?
who? A
Yeah,
consensus of who? A consensus of who?
real
because
quick.
listen to me, listen. Just like not even 2 years ago, marijuana was illegal in New York. Just what last year it became legal, or maybe 2 years ago it became legal because majority of the people kept pushing for our motherfucking peoples in power to make it legal. Like that's the only way you can maneuver around that. Outside of that, as long as the law says what it says, you can't hem up no nigga for something like that over rape.
We're not asking nobody to hem anybody up. We're having somebody be morally accountable for their actions. Again, lynching wasn't illegal until what, a couple of years ago.
And
And
how is he going to be held morally accountable? He
Lynching
already
wasn't
admitted he did it.
explain lynching, Tierra. Explain lynching.
I don't get what lynching has to do with it. You said he has to be morally accountable.
Lynching wasn't illegal until a couple of years ago, or maybe even this year.
so,
Tiara,
so to push back on what you're saying, Omar, you're saying that rape laws weren't written 200 years ago. Rape laws are constantly being updated, and sexual assault laws are constantly being updated. The most recent one is um, using you can't send people's pictures um, and videos and post them on the internet without their consent. That can be considered a sexual assault at this point in certain states. So
Listen
we're
to what you're
constantly
saying, bro. Listen to
what
what you're saying.
I just want to know how would Joe Budden be held morally accountable? Like, because he can't be held accountable because technically he didn't break no law. He already admitted it. So what how can he be held accountable? I don't get it.
Again, being morally held accountable by himself, his peers, and his
whose
funders.
moral standards is he to live by?
Hey, you're
Exactly
absolutely
his own,
no, no,
because
no.
he
Listen,
admitted it.
bro, and you're absolutely right. I can't convince people to believe that he's a rapist. I'm laying out the information, and this is my perspective. If you agree with what he's done, then that's fine. In my view, you're gonna be agreeing. You're gonna be a rape apologist. Just like the same people who view, and that's why I don't go. That's why laws is stupid. The same niggas who was
Laws are
smoking
stupid?
weed. What?
Oh, you said laws are stupid?
They're stupid and inconsistent. I wholeheartedly agree, bro. And if
No,
you
but
bring something, yo,
I
I
agree
Mm,
they
That's an
inconsistent.
opinion.
I agree with you
That's
on
an
like
opinion.
the court system is shaky, but at the end of the day, that's the best thing we have in terms of judgment. We don't have anything
it's
better. So
it can't be. It can't be. It
It
can't be.
is.
No,
What do you mean? The court of the word what?
your own moral fiber should be the best thing that you have in
no,
Omar,
judgment.
how
exactly.
can
Because
I'm
you
again,
hold on?
yo, bro,
Wait, wait.
if somebody
Can,
looks up
can
when
I push
lynching
back on
became
that?
federally illegal
You
this
just
year, somebody look up when lynching became illegal. Somebody
you
look up
just
when lynching.
you just
No, stop
made
talking. Stop talking. Stop talking. Look
Omar,
up
are you
you
when
talking
lynching
about
became
public
illegal.
lynchings or are you talking about lynchings in general?
I think it might be public lynchings, but
If
look
it's
up when
public,
lynching.
then yeah, that's pretty recent. But
you
lynching, No.
So then,
You just
so
made
then,
a
It
please
says
statement.
that
explain to me.
anti-lynching law was passed 1899, which was over 100 years ago.
So then, explain the lynching law that just got passed this recently.
But they
Just
update
explain it.
laws.
I don't know it. You have to
I didn't.
inform me.
I'm not. All right.
You have.
I'll
Can
look it
you
up. I'll
pin the
look it
law?
up. Jesus Christ.
Thank you, bro.
So
This is weird, bro. This is
no, Omar,
weird.
hold on. What you're saying is
Is it
very
All right,
anti?
wait,
Is
wait. Can
it?
I say something? Hold
because
on. Let me interject. I found the shit that Omar said. So more than a century after it was first proposed, President Biden signs historic law making lynching a federal crime. After more than a century of efforts by civil rights leaders
A
to make
federal
lynching a
hate
federal
crime. There
crime,
it is.
yeah, President Joe Biden on March 29th, 2022, signed a law historic anti-lynching legislation. So it was in 2022.
so that means that it's blanketed as a federal law in America that lynching is illegal.
But you would have still been prosecuted by state law.
Yeah.
Right.
I
For
Yeah,
don't
but
think
lynching.
that's
then. But
hold on,
if I'm
because
not
y'all
mistaken,
basing y'all information on just a title. Like, what does the motherfucking actual law states? Because it's one thing to say
read it, my
anti-lynching
nigga.
law, and
Read
then when
it.
you read
Can you
it,
put it?
Y'all
it don't
can't
say
read. Just
diddly
type
squat
in
about
when
no
did
lynching.
lynching become illegal.
Can you just put it at the top, please?
All
Cause
right,
you
bro. Hold
gotta
up.
take it. I'm telling you, you gotta take consideration. These politicians is slick. These niggas that have you thinking that they done passed the legislation whole time because there's like 50 plus pages, and then one of us niggas is gonna sit here and read through them all. They have other like language in there prohibiting stuff that we don't even know. For all we know, that same anti-lynching law, motherfucking stops you from taking a shiznit.
So we're talking.
The
So
the
we're
last public lynching was in 1936,
So
August
if we're
14th.
talking about how slick and manipulative laws can be, again, I'm going to say for me, for Omar, and I promise you this is a hill I will die on. You're gonna waste your breath, time, and energy. You might as well go enjoy your Sunday. I have a moral compass, and which is going to navigate my life. You understand what I'm saying? Is it ever evolving? Sure. Is it faster evolving than laws by the United States of America? I would say most likely so. Yeah, I definitely would say so. With that being said, holding yourself accountable isn't, oh, well, they got caught in the court of law or whatever. If that's the case, niggas can just run around, openly admitted to stealthing niggas. Deshaun Watson can fly women out.
But that's not the
Uh,
point.
bro, hold on. Deshaun Watson can fly women out left, right, and sideways, and be and do sexual misconduct left, right, and sideways, and nobody should, like, because there's no law written about it. Everybody should just, woo, this is cool.
That's not the point, though.
That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're
No,
implying
what
either.
That's
I
moving
was
the
saying,
goalposts.
what I was
I
saying is
mean,
that
but that is what happens though, because since marijuana became legal, there's no like laws with businesses. So technically, we got motherfucking dispensaries here who's making pure bank, and not nam dollar is going towards state taxes.
but my
So then
Man,
what
point
why,
is,
why,
happens?
why, why
Well,
are we acting
No,
like
no,
just
no,
because
no.
something's
Marijuana.
legal means it's good?
Jesus Christ.
Why
No,
are we?
I'm just saying, like, if the laws don't specifically say something is illegal, niggas will. I'm telling you, they'll milk that junk.
but my
So
Yeah,
point,
I put it in there. I put it
that's
in there. It's in the jumbotron.
that's
Just look,
life.
go on the link, and you'll see it.
That's
but
America.
my point in the whole situation was that,
Oh
like,
shit.
your feelings are based on facts of situations. The best way to get facts is in criminal investigations. If they can't find the facts,
But that's
there's
not
no way
that's
you
not
would know
that's
the
not a
facts.
thousand that's not a thousand percent true. And the
But you
only
don't
reason
know
why
what happened, so how can you have a feeling
no,
about
listen
something?
So
listen to what I'm saying. And maybe if you're speaking about me specifically, I would say that that's not true for humans at all. Because if that's the case, then you would think that everybody would turn the tide on like R. Kelly or something like that, and that's just not true, right?
We have facts that R. Kelly did shit though. Like people are
Yeah, but you
literally.
have people that haven't turned the tide on R. Kelly, is what I'm saying.
But
Oh no,
what's your
but that's
point with R.
people in
Kelly?
general.
Niggas
I'm
ain't
not saying.
care. Niggas ain't
I
care
can't
about
speak
R.
for
Kelly until
everybody.
now. Niggas
I
didn't care
can't.
I
until
still want to
last
know
year.
what.
They put the
Niggas
title of the
still
OJ.
don't. Niggas still don't care about R. Kelly. He has 11 million impressions
But
of
so
his
what
video
I'm saying
of his
to you
song
now though
on
is because
Instagram and TikTok right now.
what I'm
They
saying to
don't
you now though
care.
is because again I'm assuming that you're addressing the general point. And you and what's his name, Dead's archives, again, bring it back to the general point. I don't understand why people can't why do people get so offended when people bring up the evils that someone has committed, whether they're dead or alive? That's the tweet.
Because
That's the one that niggas reacted to.
no, but my problem was that with the
And you
Kobe
know the
sentence.
answer why. So
No. And I wanna get into the first part of the conversation before we get into the second. We'll get into the second part of the conversation.
I
Okay.
still want to
Okay.
know what did you mean by him being held morally accountable? Like, what does that look like?
Yo, bro, I'm not finna dance around all these things.
Just
You
spill the
never
tea. That's what he
answered the
wants.
You didn't
He
question
answer
wants
the
the
I
tea.
question.
because
did, Tiara. I definitely did, bro. I definitely did, bro.
so is he
Jesus
supposed
Christ.
to think of himself and be
Tiara,
like, I'm a terrible person?
I answered you. I've opened the space to others. I want them to have a chance to respond. I can circle back to you. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.
Oh,
So again,
Circle back. Nigga, you
That
didn't answer the first time. Okay,
I
well, since
I
Omar
did
I
though.
refused
think
to
I
he
answer,
was
did
he was
though.
in
do
I
charge, bro.
anybody
did
recall?
though.
Do anybody recall what Omar's response was to my question? Like, what does this morally
I forgot what your
accountable look
yeah.
question
like?
was.
What how would he be held morally
Yo, bro,
accountable?
He
That's
can
basically went
I
around your question and talked about his own moral compass and some more shit. But
exactly. Thank you.
he didn't
no,
ever
no,
answer your
nigga, no,
question.
nigga, no,
No,
nigga.
nigga, you did.
When
out
she
of
asked
respect,
what
he's
it
Thank
here,
means
you.
so
to
let
be,
him speak.
when she asked what it means to be held morally accountable, I said, "Oh, well, that looks like his peers saying something and holding him morally accountable, potentially disassociating with him, his sponsors and his fans." That's exactly what I said. Shut
For
the
someone's
fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Dead's archives is up here now. Nah is
L
up here
service, L
now.
So I
service.
They
would
both
If
the
someone's
responded to
dead
the
the
tweet.
though, how do you
whole
hold
I
them
want
accountable?
to
You're
give
morally
them the
the
opportunity
whole
to speak on
shit
the tweet.
with Kobe, because I just joined in here. I'm just hearing all this shit now.
The first part of the
I
tweet, though.
just
The first part of the tweet,
I
though, bro.
don't understand
I
how
just
we
want to say
could,
your morally motherfucking
yeah, how
accountability.
Bro, nobody cares. Tierra, relax, bro. It's an open conversation for other people to have input as well. We will circle back.
L service, nigga. You under a bridge, nigga. That's good
Doesn't
shit.
matter. Go ahead. Finish your point, Dead's Archives.
Address it without 200 words, and then maybe I'll leave it alone.
Tierra, shut up.
You talking to our veterans like that,
Hell
nigga?
no, nigga. Respect niggas taller than you.
damn,
That's crazy.
I hear you.
Respect niggas taller than
Go
you is
ahead,
That's
crazy.
Dead's
Respect
crazy.
niggas taller than
Archives.
you is crazy.
I just don't
That's
see how we could, like, okay, if someone does a wrong, right, and we hold them accountable for that wrong, do we have to keep holding them accountable even after they prove that, like, they're not that bad of a person and they did more to, fix their character? Like, I don't see how, if I did a wrong, right, and then I do some other shit that is good and helped out the community and helped out some more people, how that could really, like, how that wrong is still outweighing the good that I do. You feel me? Like, I don't
Just
think
like
people
X.
are
Are you talking about
perfect.
like X?
Like, people aren't perfect.
What?
We're all gonna make mistakes. I understand certain mistakes are worse than others, but I feel like as people, we should be able to make up and continue to build up our character even if we make mistakes. You feel me? I just
I
don't think that's
personally,
right. I don't think that's
I,
right to keep holding people down to their wrongs and not uplift when they do good. You feel me? So
I personally don't think that beating somebody, specifically like a woman, murdering somebody, raping, whether it's kids or a woman, like I don't think that these things are mistakes. I don't think that they're necessarily forgivable offenses either. Again, I would also say that's
yeah,
probably
I don't think I agree with you. I don't think things like that are forgivable, but you can atone, you could do better, you could become a better person. You feel me? Like, I
you
just don't
can, but
think.
and what I'm listen, you can, but what I'm ultimately saying though is true. Like that's also a perspective thing. Like I can't tell somebody to forgive R. Kelly or R. Kelly has atoned for his sins if you are,
But he
one of
hasn't,
the
though. That I feel
no,
like
but
that's why people.
listen to what I'm saying. Let's say he does, and let's say he did. Let's say he spends the rest of his life doing prison ministry and walking by God and all these other things like that. I don't think that I could tell his victims or anyone that's been affected by it, or maybe somebody else who's been affected by, being touched or molested on or raped as a child, that hey, but like he's dedicated his life, so we kind of gotta, you know what I'm saying?
No, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't feel like, right, like, look, right, those victims, they're never gonna get back. But if you dedicate your life to being a better person, who are we to sit there and be like, oh yeah, but he did XYZ, but he made up for it. He's trying to do better, be a better person. I can't like sit there and continuously shit on this person for
But that's
the wrong
and
that they
again
did.
and again, I think the ultimate thing to this conversation, and that's why I asked the question, because it's about perspective. Again, if I'm like a victim of domestic violence, in my eyes, like, I don't care what somebody ever does or whatever the case may be, I can never forget. Like, I can never get over that because you were the one who beat me, or even somebody on the outside looking in that also may have went through that trauma. Like, nah, I could never forgive you because you put this trauma on. Like, you put this trauma on somebody. I know what it's like to go through that. You can masquerade behind all this, or you can even try to change yourself, or you could even totally change yourself. But the person that has the ability to do these things, like, that could always be lingering in their mind. I think it's perspective. Like, if you feel like you can forgive somebody and move past and X, Y, and Z, that's fine. But other people, so why do people get so offended when somebody can't, like, they just can't get over that?
So
For dead people, it's because they don't have really a resolve. What are you gonna do really to help the victim or to hold them accountable?
And that's fine. And that's another thing too. I don't think that there always has to be a resolution. Like, when somebody asks, well, what do you want them to do? Nothing. I'm just always gonna label them as X, Y, and Z. Like, I think Thomas Jefferson is a slaver. Fuck whatever he did for, the United States as a whole. I think he's a slaver. What can Thomas Jefferson do to get that stigma off him? Nothing. He's done, quote unquote, a lot for this country. If he was alive today, don't think there's any more that he could do to change my mind that he's a slaver. It's about the perspective, though, right?
Yeah,
I
like
mean, what
100%. Like it,
what can Elvis
it,
do, bro? I don't know.
like
What does that provide,
it
though? Like,
goes
I guess
back to
an accurate description.
no. It's just not letting them
Omar, did you just
run
answer your
away from
own
what they said
question?
or what they did.
But
Because
they're dead.
otherwise, you got people, you got people on the internet. Like this whole thing, it's not up to us to forgive them. It's not. It's not up to us at all. It's up to the victim. And I ain't heard anything about her forgiving him. So why,
And
she
that's
why
a
the
has
fuck?
a. That's
and
because
you know
she
what?
can't speak.
That's a
That's
fact
because
too.
she signed a non-disclosure agreement. She
But
can't
but
speak
but
about the
regardless,
situation
regardless,
forever.
regardless,
So
regardless.
you
That's a
won't ever hear her speak about it.
regardless.
God
That's a
damn.
that's a good and bona fide point though that you just made. Not even just to the Kobe situation, but again, we're talking about the broader scope of the conversation. Why are there people who aren't afflicted by these situations saying, well, we forgive him? Damn,
Yeah,
my
like
nigga, you wasn't the one he put his hands on. Like,
nobody gave a fuck
well,
what you
well,
forgive. Because like
and
at
it's
the end of
still,
the day, I see. Yeah, Kobe's done some great stuff. Okay, and
Do we know that? This is my point.
yeah,
Kobe
you
didn't
did
rape,
that. But at the end of the day, he raped.
Do we
bro.
know that?
No,
wait, go
like
ahead,
if
nah,
you
wait,
Do
wait,
we
wait, wait,
know
wait,
that
wait,
Do
though?
we know that?
Are we?
wait, wait,
Okay,
wait, wait,
we're
wait,
not
wait,
gonna
wait,
we're
wait,
not
wait,
gonna
wait, wait,
come
nah,
like
on,
that's a
wait, wait. Oh, where do you? Oh, well, never mind.
Go
Nah,
ahead, King.
let me hear your point on the overall point, and then we can get to your fave if y'all want to get to your fave, but I want to hear your thoughts on the overall point. Damn, why you kick him off the stage? What the fuck?
Oh, my bad. I was bringing Low up. I didn't know he
Okay,
was talking.
well, all right, well, never mind then.
Sorry. I
Nah,
think
that was not me. That
Omar,
was
you literally
Courtney.
just Omar, you
Okay,
literally
okay,
just
hold
answered
up.
your own question with that perspective shit that you were mentioning.
No,
Like,
no,
you
no,
just
no, no.
answered
I think
your
I
own
know.
question.
It's a conversation. It's not necessarily like
I know, but like you kind
yeah.
of just answered your own tweet there. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, now
Me? Oh,
yeah.
okay. No, my
Yeah.
whole point with this was it depends on the person and it depends on how solid we know what the facts are. Like with Kobe, we're dealing with a situation where we all don't know. Nobody knows for sure what actually happened. So when a person dies and we're just bashing them on hearsay, it's kind of nasty. It's, if you know something, then yeah, okay, Michael Jackson or whatever, if somebody did something for sure, But if you just bashing him on based on some, I heard this or this person said you did this, that's kind of nasty.
So
Well,
what do we know that Michael Jackson did?
yeah, that was interesting because
It's
Michael
Oh no,
the
that was
Jackson
my
when they
same
bad. I'm
came
thing.
just
out,
saying, like,
yeah,
I'm
they
talking
came
about,
out and
I'm talking
said
about,
them kids
no,
was
I'm talking about
bribed.
people that we bash just because we heard somebody say something, and it's just like,
But the thing is,
But that's the
didn't
same
Kobe
thing
come
people do
out
to
and
Kobe.
apologize for it?
Yeah,
no,
Kobe apologized for the whole situation.
he apologized for the media speculation.
Didn't he
no,
apologize for her perception, how she felt?
no.
He didn't say he did it.
He apologized to the woman as
I didn't
well.
see that video.
Mind you, that was part of the settlement for the civil case. But that's the thing that I find so interesting is because it's in
Oh,
specific
Mustard made it
moments.
to the chat.
In specific moments, people pick and choose, like when enough evidence is enough for them, and what is sufficient evidence to them. And then they also pick and choose, like, okay, well now I'm gonna be lawful here, as opposed to like not going
That's
by the law
humans.
here.
We're
Oh
all
no,
doing that.
I get that.
Dang, Omar spitting. To be honest, that's a rare case for me.
Relax, nigga. But yeah, no, I wholeheartedly get that. And the answer to like the whole thing is, like I said, perspective and humans being humans and all that. But I just don't like. I don't. That's my whole point of like this conversation is like, who are you to tell somebody that they should be over said incident?
Oh no,
Right?
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Because it's also we're not sitting here bashing him. It's not like we're saying, "Oh, this nigga, the root of all evil. I'm glad he did." No, it's like we're calling a chicken a chicken.
But we don't know he's a chicken.
Yeah, but like we said, we don't know he's a chicken though. So like,
But based off of what you have and even what he said,
it seems like
you could kind of conclude that this thing with feathers is a chicken.
Context.
Okay, but
so
can I say
either
this? In a lot of cases where you're dealing with like high-profile situations, people settle out just so they don't have to deal with the
so they don't have
long-term
to
effects
deal
of
with
just
a
drawing something
long
out.
extended court case. Like I feel like,
but for a
it's just
subject
kinda
like
wild.
this, I don't
I
think
don't
you
see,
should
like,
settle.
Yes, you
obviously
should.
we
I
can't
don't.
go
But
off
Man,
don't
you
wanna-
probably
of what.
should. You
Just
probably
You don't want a
because we
prolonged
don't
rape
think they
case.
should.
What?
Hold on. Obviously, we shouldn't go off of how we feel, but I just don't like. Where do we see Kobe doing things like that, especially during that time? Wasn't this like what? 02, 03? What was it?
03, 2003.
04.
Like
03.
he was peaking around this time, having like the time of his life with the Lakers. Blah blah blah.
So
I
his
can't agree
time
on
when
that.
he
I
was
can't agree
the
on
time
that.
when he was
That's a
he
bad
was
example.
the time when he was isolated.
Doing some bullshit. You feel me?
The time when he was
I
isolated.
feel like I'm not saying anything.
You're not gonna
about
get
the
too many
woman,
niggas
whatever,
on your
blah
side
blah
with that.
blah. But I just don't see it. Like, it doesn't add up.
You don't
feel
know
me?
Kobe. You don't know Kobe.
I don't know Kobe. Yeah, you're right. I don't know Kobe. But from what we've seen of Kobe, I don't see that from him.
No, bro. I
But
don't
here's
know.
the thing
Nobody
though.
here
Here's the
knows
thing
Kobe,
though.
bro.
Since you
What
don't
does that
know,
even mean? What
since you
we've
don't
seen from
know,
Kobe? What does that
what the
mean?
fuck? This
Niggas
nigga put
scoring
up 60.
27 a game. I don't.
Nigga put
What we
Of
saw,
him as
like,
a person outside of the court. What?
but
I mean,
but
Wait,
what
just
I'm
because you
saying,
What,
don't know
hanging
him,
out
You
with
you
his
don't
don't know
know
him as
him.
a
kids?
What are
person.
you
what
talking
about him?
about?
Y'all
you
know
can
what he
only
means. Stop doing
Bro,
that.
the
Y'all
dick
know
Hanging
what
out
sucking
y'all know
that
what
people
outside the
would
court.
do
wait,
just to
Let
defend a
me
Stop
nigga
say
in
doing
this.
that.
Brooklyn.
Y'all know what he's talking about.
Let me say this. I don't want to mute. But because you disagree with me. Well, you made comment in the thing. Specific comments like what Dead's Archives just said is part of the reason why, like, I want to have the conversation. And to Muster
And
too.
I understand that.
Wait. To Muster too. People will make like mental gymnastics for strangers in instances where they like them. People are still right now caping for Kanye, finding a whole bunch of different ways. You even have people commenting now,
What?
like, yeah. Oh, you have people commenting now, like, yeah, I mean, his mom
Of
did put
course,
him in a
nigga.
fucked up situation. But
Okay.
mind you, they're the ones that continue to move the goalposts. But that's why I'm saying, why do people get so offended when these other people are just moving the goalposts, making excuses left, right, and side? This shit is amazing. What you just did, Dead's Archive, was crazy.
That was insane.
Yeah, he said,
He was
I
like,
just
yo,
don't believe he has that
you
in
was
him.
balling,
That was
so
crazy.
you couldn't be a rapist.
I can't cap to you.
Ain't
Now
got
that I
that
think
dog
about
in
it, bro, that I could see why niggas don't have Kobe in their top 10, bro. I can see
Oh,
why.
wow. Okay.
No, he top 10.
This
Relax.
nigga.
Alright, can we forget the basketball conversation?
This
All
nigga
right,
Jay.
that's good.
How
No,
can you
but
speculate?
Dad, think about it from this perspective. how you were saying we don't know. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, we don't know for certain 100%. There's all I'm saying is I'm not apologizing for nothing I didn't do it directly to the person. But
Facts, my
we're
nigga.
gonna skip past that. We don't know.
She
So
received a
there's
lot of.
also that same way we don't know. You don't know if he really did it. So think about this.
Type
Imagine if you were a victim of rape and you see people, and this isn't just like one person in space. You see millions on the internet every day defending the person that did that
But
to
that's
you.
my point. My
Is that
point is
not
this.
crazy?
My
I
point
mean,
is
At the
this.
very
I see
least,
what you're
Oh
saying,
shit.
but
at the very least,
like what Omar
if you're
was
not
saying,
going to
it's
talk
all
about it,
perspective.
then at the very least, don't defend him.
But my point is this: being that nobody knows, we should all be quiet. That's the whole point.
That
I
100%,
agree with that. I feel
100%.
like
Yeah, I
honestly,
agree with
we
that
should
more
just
than anything in the
remain
world.
neutral because we don't know.
We
Like
But
don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna sit here.
even with that, okay, go ahead,
I'm
finish.
not gonna sit here and assume the absolute worst if we don't have the proof to prove that he did it. So
You
I'm
know
not
what?
gonna
And
assume the
that's
worst. I understand where you're coming from, though. We should remain neutral.
But you
yeah,
know
no,
what?
no,
But
I
you
understand
know
that,
what?
but the only reason why I talk about it and bring it up, I only do it in response when I see people defending shit like that.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
when I see people
Okay.
defending Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson, this was
That nigga,
in
he
the
done some. Yeah.
this was in the
done some
Discord
shit.
the other day. Some old nigga was defending him, and I was like, no, he did that shit.
Yeah, you can't
He's
defend Mike
convicted.
Tyson.
He's
Yeah,
convicted.
Mike Tyson, great boxer, kind of a piece of shit
But
to
listen,
women.
listen. Let me say this because I'm about to go in a second. What's funny is, and that's again with the pick and choosing. When we say we don't know, well, there is stuff out there. There's evidence. There's testimonies. There's court documents. There's Kobe giving a public apology, him admitting to things during sex.
But were
So
you
I don't.
there,
What was the
Omar? Were you
apology,
there?
though?
Yo, shut up, Morty.
You were not
So,
there, bro.
but that's why
Could
I'm
apologize.
saying. That's why I'm saying, like, I just don't understand when people are like overly selective about when it
But
matters. Call
that's
the duck. Call it the duck.
that's my point, Omar. Though is like the reason I say that we have to rely on the court system because at the end of the day, you're dealing with human beings. If you're going to have human beings just telling people they're guilty or they're bad people based off their feelings, that's a very dangerous game. I know it's not. The court system isn't perfect, of course it's not, but it's the best thing we have in terms of being impartial.
Right.
Oh, and mind you, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't. I don't think I would, or anybody would, who makes these claims would be making these bold claims if it was just X random person saying it or whatever the case may be. But when hardcore evidence is presented, when testimonies are there, when public apologies are submitted, yeah, you kind of got it. You know what I'm saying? You go by that. I
But
don't know what's so crazy
if
about
I'm gonna keep it a
For,
buck,
he
if I'm
could
gonna be
apologize
honest,
for a lot. She was a schizophrenic woman that was getting death threats for like a
it. All
year,
right,
bro.
this is crazy, bro.
we
This
can't
is
Like, what
say
do you?
that. I don't know that.
Of course, he could apologize, and he was saying that he still believed it was a consensual thing, but he could understand where I don't want to say, but like he can understand her situation, her perception of whatever it is. I'm not saying either one is correct, but to just go, oh, he apologized, he's definitely guilty. That's a fucking jump.
All I'm saying,
I
There's
don't
so
agree.
there
much
has
that
never
goes
been a
into it.
single
Like
time in my
the
life.
Lakers could have easily said, "Oh yeah, you gotta go apologize, blah blah blah, X Y Z," just for
Yeah, that's true. That's
At
very
this point,
true.
we should just stop having sex
I
at
understand
all.
what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But as soon as folks are like, "Yo, she said stop. Did you stop?" Niggas be like, "Ah, well, no," or "Oh,
But
well."
do we know that?
Is that what happened?
That's
That's
what
why I
they
keep telling
said.
this man, you don't know that,
We
bro.
That's
don't
what they
know,
said.
bro.
I'm not
Okay, so
going. No.
are we
Listen.
just
My
gonna go there?
God.
Listen. This is what they said. This is what Kobe and Young Lady said.
So
What
that's
Kobe
what
and
makes
Young
it so,
Lady
okay.
also said was, "Hey, there were bruise marks on her neck. Did you choke her?" Um.
He admitted
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah. But I like that type of sex. Oh well, she didn't like that. Oh, my bad. I never really asked.
Can I say this though?
What?
Whenever there's a civil suit, I'm gonna always be a little bit iffy because I always find it insane that if somebody's a threat to you, that you really just accept money and it's cool. That's always insane to me. Because if somebody was coming to kill me, I'm not gonna be like, yo, if you give me $20 million, I'm good. While you can just freely
There's a
roam the
price
earth.
tag on trauma.
I'm not finna blame rape victims though for not wanting to
Yeah.
I'm
take.
not blaming the
Yeah,
rape
Yeah,
that
like
victims.
was
this is a
I'm
no,
saying
very
that
a very
was
weird turn
crazy
we're
shit.
taking, and you
Little
got to
that
take
is
crazy.
into
not what I'm
account this
saying,
is
fam.
Kobe Bryant we're talking about. It's gonna be harder to get a criminal case on him and
Yeah,
actually win
like you
than it is
can.
for the civil case. It's
Oh
just
my
way
God,
harder.
fam.
Kobe Bryant is not going to fucking prison or having any hefty punishments when it comes to something like this,
Why is
especially
he
with the
going to
backing
prison?
of
They
the
took Mike
NBA.
Tyson to
I
prison.
mean,
He was
if
the
he did
hottest
it,
thing
then
on
why
earth.
wouldn't he?
Mike
If he
Nigga,
did it,
Tyson.
if you know he did it, then
That was
why
Boulder,
wouldn't he go to
Colorado. He
jail?
would have
If
went
you
to
have proof,
jail.
he would have went to jail.
Okay, look. I gotta finish. We'll finish this some other time. Ultimately, what I'm saying to y'all is that outside of the Kobe, Chris Brown, because I'm glad, and nobody came up here to defend Chris Brown. So again, I just know who people's favorites are. Outside of Kobe, Chris Brown, just a general question: why do you get offended in these situations? These are people's perspectives. These are their feelings. You don't know what trauma they faced or whatever. Has Rihanna forgiven Chris Brown for like hitting her?
Rihanna don't care. She's married with children.
No. It's just a general serious question. Has Rihanna forgiven Chris Brown?
I think she said publicly that she did. Yeah, like a
Okay.
long time ago.
Okay. I can't definitively say, but let's just end this hypothetical. Like, who are we, if you don't know, who are you to then say, yeah, man? Like, I've forgiven Chris Brown. I mean, you didn't get your hands laid on you. Like, that's a weird thing to just, you know what I'm saying? Be forgiving.
I mean,
So,
I don't see why like they
where do I
would
gotta go?
care
Where do I
about
gotta?
our opinion.
Let me get that. Oh, but again, if you don't care about the opinion, then you should face the facts as to what it is. He beat a woman. So why are you forgiving or feeling that you like have the place in the conversation to give forgiveness? It's such a strange thing. The only two people that should be forgiving is if you believe in God and the person who got afflicted by the ex person. And again, this isn't just to those two people. This is just like a general thing. I'm not forgiving R. Kelly on the behalf of all these people because time has been spent or whatever the case may be. But what I'm saying is understand why people are offended. Listen to where they come from. Don't dismiss them early or whatever the case may be. Hear them out. Anyway.